What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be doing an alternator replacement on a 2010 Dodge Avenger. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started here on this. The battery is located way down in here in the fender, so we're going to go ahead and remove the negative up here. Okay. We got another one here. Clean some of them threads up a little bit. Disconnect this. Make sure that they can't touch. That should be good enough. And we'll set these nuts to the side. So the next thing we're going to want to do is disconnect this electrical connector here on the alternator. We're going to push that red tab over and unplug it. Might need a screwdriver actually. Man, that thing's in there. Let me go grab a screwdriver. Alright, got me a screwdriver. And get down in there. There we go. I got it loose now. Push in the tab. Oh. There we go. Now it's unplugged. Damn red tab slid all the way out, so I'll have to push that back in when we put it back together. Now we're going to take off the belt by putting one of my offset wrenches on this pulley. It's 2 down from the power steering, and we're going to push it towards the firewall, and that'll loosen up the belt. Alright, I take back what I said. I'm using the ratchet instead. Alright, so using the ratchet instead, I was able to get quite a bit more leverage on there, and now we can get the belt off of the alternator here. Okay, now that we got this off of there out of the way, we'll start taking off the maybe kind of hard to see because it won't focus, but it's this pulley right down here that my finger's on. It kind of lines up with the there we go. Oh, come on now. That's that bottom pulley on the alternator here is actually the bottom bolt as well, so we need to take that off next. Alright, so we got our pulley off. As you can see, it's missing down here right below my finger is where it bolted in at. That's part of the alternator, or actually I think that it just blocks the lower bolt. That's right, yeah, we actually have another bolt down here for the alternator, then we have another one right here at the top. I believe that this one is a 14, maybe actually I think it's a 13, and the bottom one might be another 15. I'll let you know for sure in just a sec. Alright, can't really get too good of a camera angle on this particular part of it, but figured you guys could hang out while I get it off. Bottom one is going to be a 16 millimeter actually. Yeah, 16 millimeter for sure. So we're going to be Trying to get that off with the 3/8 flex head ratchet. And I know a lot of people will pull the AC compressor, and we may end up having to do that as well. And that's what the procedure says to do. But if I remember right, and I could be wrong, but I want to say that I've taken this out before without doing that. And you can get to most of the bolts and whatnot from the top here. So I'm going to try to take care of that, see what we can do. There's a little nut on the back side of the alternator. You don't want to lose that. Come on. Oh, we got pretty close to hand tight now on the bottom. Oh, that's on way. Sure, we're almost there. Jeez. Alright, I'm making this harder on myself than it needs to be, I think. I'm grabbing another tool. Got the good old electric ratchet. Where's that socket at? That's the wrong one. Alright, this better work here. There we go. Where's that bolt at? Okay, here it is. There we go. No problem. Excellent. These things are great. And then here's what that nut looks like. It's got a little tab on it. And you can pretty easily reach back in there from the right side of the alternator and hold it in place. There's a fair amount of room for your hand back there. Now I'm going to try to pull that lower bolt out. There's that lower bolt. It's fairly long. So make sure that these two stay together. That's your bottom bolt for the alternator. And now, I'll pull this top one off. I believe it's a 13. Bottom one was a 16. Yep. And I'm also going to reach down there next to that electrical connector. And we're going to disconnect the B plus terminal as well from the battery. That one was a 12, but it may also be a 13 on yours. It's been replaced before. This one's a 12. I think they come stock with a 13. Okay, so we got the other electrical connection on the alternator off. That's our nut for that. Okay. And then we've got the top bolt loose. Alternator is wiggly. So we're pretty much at the point where the alternator can come out. It's just a matter of if it fits or not. I think what I'm going to try to do is move it towards the driver's side and pull it up there. Even if I have to take out the air box or something, I think that'd be a little easier than messing with the compressor. I don't really like working on my back if I can avoid it. So got this top bolt nearly out. There's that one. Oops. Alright. Okay, so we've got the alternator out. Alright, sorry guys, my phone died in the middle of the video, but we're about 20 minutes later and I got the alternator out without removing the compressor. I'll show you what I did. I went ahead and jacked it up on the AC compressor bracket there. Jacked it up pretty high. And I did not even have to take out the bolts on the mount. I just left them in. And then I took out the two bolts that hold in the reservoir. Moved it over to the side. and by jacking up on it, I was able to pull the alternator out through here. I did have to bend back the little bracket that this goes on, and I also took this bolt out just to give me a little bit of slack in this line, but I was able to pull it out through there, and I'll be putting the new one in the same way. Alright, I want to kind of show this step by step. So we were able to work the alternator in and around these two. That's the biggest pain in the ass part. You're going to have bent this up quite a bit, but it's not that hard to pull it back into place, and all it does is hold the compressor or the coolant reservoir. So now that we're here, we're just going to kind of wiggle it around until we can get it up under the power steering pump. And then, once we've done that, should be able to bolt it up into place. We do have this AC line right here you got to be careful of too. So I'm going to need a second hand to kind of get it through there, but I'll show you that once I get done. Another thing I want to point out that I didn't realize before is that this lower bolt can actually go in before you put it in place, because the bottom part is just slotted, so you actually don't have to take this out all the way. And some of them are like that, some of them are not, so it's not that hard either way, but I decided to go ahead and put the bolt in before I put it in place in the slot. Alright, so now we got the alternator put back in, both bolts tightened up. I've got that pulley back in there at the bottom, but I haven't tightened it up yet, and I'm kind of getting a rough belt routing put back together now. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten that pulley up all the way and then get the belt put back on. Alright, so now we got our belt back on. Unfortunately, since this damn hose came off, I did get a little bit of coolant on it. Hopefully it doesn't make too much noise, if any. We did get the bracket repositioned, got our bolts back in, got that tightened up. I did remember to tighten the pulley down there before I put the belt back on. Now I think the only thing left is to reconnect the electrical down here on the alternator and then reconnect our battery. So I'm going to do that now. Alright, I've got the alternator electrical connections put back on with the red clip. Also, don't forget to put that bolt back in for the power steering line if you did take it out. Got our battery reconnected, so we are all finished up. She's running good now. Very good indeed. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to Andy's Auto. I'll see you next time.